Hello everyone watching us from wherever you are. I bless God for you being around here. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon everyone where you're watching us from. This is Tribal Roots Studio. It's another segment, another time for geopolitics. Your favorite Simon. I always thank you people always for watching us, for keeping up with us, for always liking us, commenting down there, subscribing, following us, giving us your reactions. We love you so much, and please don't leave us and still be watching geopolitics. Just like I promised you last time, I have still come back with my team, the team that has been tackling climatic change, or rather we can talk about pollution, and they are still here to talk with us and to see what exactly is happening. And I told you that we had talked about land pollution, to be specific, and we talked about we gave a few statistics about it, how it's a danger, how it's a health hazard to the environment, to everything, the agriculture we have. And I promised you that this time round we are going to talk about the effects and the solutions. And guess what? I am still with my favorite experts, and who am I to introduce them? So I'm going to give some little time to each of them to introduce themselves. Thank you so much. From my left, sir, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. Very good afternoon, good evening, good morning to our dear viewers, depending on where you're watching from. My name is Sam Paul, as usual, and it's I must say it's a great pleasure to be back on this show again today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. On my right, sir.
Yes, I want to greet you our viewers of the Tribal Roots Africa. My name once again, I'm Daniel Mesgwa, coming to you live, and I'm privileged to be here today. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. One thing you should know, I'm always so privileged, and I bless God to have such very great analysts. I'm sure all of you love them so much and always comment about every topic we talk about. So today we wanted to talk about before we go to the main points that we wanted to talk about. I wanted to give you just just give us some small recap, like each for 1 minute, for those who didn't watch last time's video. But it's better you go back and watch it so that you can follow it well. But it's okay. Still, we can give you just a 1 minute recap of what we are talking about. So, to my left, Mr. Sam, you can just say some small thing about what we talked last time, so that people know what exactly we are tackling on. Thank you.
Okay, last time, majorly, our major point was land pollution, as you mentioned, and various forms of pollution. Basically, we majorly zeroed down to land pollution based on polythene bags. Okay, and those who were with us last time will remember we gave you the statistics of how vast and widespread polythene bag pollution has been, and how it is a really huge danger to our land. We gave you the various causes of land pollution, and remember giving you a very brilliant definition of land pollution, which I'm going to refer you back to our video and the viewers who were there last time. And basically, what I can make sure you don't forget about are the causes of land pollution that were detrimental or health implicating to the human population. Those are very key, and you should always watch out for them. Since I was given 1 minute, that's the best I can say about last time's show.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sam. Back to Mr. Daniel. In what you're going to tell us, I'm very also much interested in you reminding us that old saying. Every time it rekindles in my head, and I'm really sure also our viewers outside there would really love to hear it once more. So Please go ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I always have a lot of sayings, so perhaps my mind is not clicking now to which one exactly you'd like our viewers to hear.
I guess. You
But,
can just give us a more.
But you know, in Africa we have a lot of sayings,
Sure.
and the most favorite one about land is when the yam does not grow as you expected it to grow, you don't blame the yam. What do you blame? It's the land. Who takes care of the land?
Of course, it's us.
It's us. Yeah, so it's our responsibility to make sure that the land remains productive as it should. And this is why we are putting these efforts. It's not that we are so much into the whole thing, but our burden is making sure that we continue having this productive land. We are blessed in Africa that we are still having this. Yeah, because it's very, very important if human species to continue to thrive on the surface of the earth.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. I'm really very sure that one time I will host you here for specifically discussing about wise sayings. Thank you so much. To our viewers outside there, now we are going to zero down to what brought us this time round. We're going to talk about the effects of land pollution or degradation due to poor dumping of plastics and polythene papers or bags. So after that, we are going to talk about solutions, because all the things, if we don't talk about the solutions, it means we have wasted our time, because after us perhaps threatening you, if I can say that it's life-threatening, it's a health hazard, it leads to this and that. If we just leave you like that, we shall have not done anything. But if we talk about also ways, about maybe ways how we can live with these polythene papers or plastics or bags, or maybe we can do something about them, or get ways on how we can closely associate with these things in a way that is not very, very, very dangerous to the environment, which comes back to us, we shall have not done anything. So, Mr. Sam, I want you to talk about the effects, the negative effects, to be specific, because they also do have positive effects. But of course, that one is for our own good. But if we demystify the negative effects, it will be very, very, very important so that people know what exactly we are talking about. Thank you so much.
The negative effects of polythene bag dumping. I will take you back to the very, very, very common statistic that we all looked at last time. As we said, 75% of the land actually occupied by the world population right now is polluted by what? Polythene bags.
Yes, true.
Now, that's the most common effect. I mean, the most common form of this pollution is dumping.
True.
You dump something because you don't want it to be with you, okay? But then once you dump it, do you actually think of how long it's going to last where you have dumped it? Because trust me, you also don't want it where you have dumped it, but you just don't think about it at that time. So polythene bags take an average of 2,000 years to degrade.
So actually, they say that a normal lifespan of a human being cannot last long enough
to witness the polythene bag
degradation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, imagine if you keep dumping these polythene bags on the soil, it's going to take 2,000 years. Each polythene bag is taking 2,000 years to degrade, and then this is degrading. This is degrading the land itself. Okay, this is causing the land to lose its nutrients at that point of where it has been dumped. Okay, And that is a very big effect, because speaking for Africa as a nation, as a continent, agriculture is something we treasure a lot. Okay, and once we keep dumping these poison bugs, we are going to lose space of where we can cultivate or grow our crops, because all the land is being polluted. And who is going to be alive for 2,000 years for poison bugs to degrade? Next, I'll take you to a very common chemical that is used for manufacturing poison bugs. That is bisphenol A.
Yeah, commonly known as BPA.
BPA, thank you. BPA is a very dangerous chemical health-wise, but then it can't be excluded from the manufacturing of polythene bags, because in these polythene bags, bisphenol A acts as to hold these particles together at a molecular level. Okay, and this chemical is very, very harmful to us. We are not supposed to have bisphenol A running in our system, because it is teratogenic, or can I say carcinogenic, for us who are living. And for the women, it's teratogenic because it affects their children. Okay, so bisphenol A is a dangerous chemical that we're not supposed to have in our bodies, but then it is in polythene bags. And it is also dangerous once it goes into the soil, because it is absorbed by plants.
Yes.
And then later on, we eat it again. And then that causes again another harm back to us. So, for us not to have it.
Actually, there is a scientific saying which says that energy is neither lost nor created, but transformed from one form to another.
I'm sitting with men who are very enriched with sayings. One has wise sayings, another has cultural sayings. This is a very good environment to be in. Okay, back to the pollution bit of it. Next, I'll take you to another effect of degradation. Do you know how much is put into the manufacturing of polythene?
It's a lot.
Now, speaking of oil, which is a very, very, very vital thing. Look at Qatar. Look at the Middle East. It's thriving because of the presence of oil.
Yeah, true.
But then we need over 60 gallons to manufacture polythene. That is wasted oil. Can I say wasted because of the sense of this show? That is oil, or a resource, a natural resource that would have been put to use somewhere else. Okay, but then they're transferring it into polythene, and that is, as I said, a waste for the essence of this show. And then this oil that has been transformed into polythene is again going to be dumped somewhere. Let's take you to the ocean. Once these polythenes are dumped in the ocean, they first of all clog. Remember, we have life going on down in the ocean. But once you dump these polythenes on the ocean, it's blocking oxygen entry, it's blocking light entry. And remember, these plants down need light for photosynthesis, these animals need oxygen to survive. And then there's a funny thing, the sea lions mistake these things we have, these polythenes we have dumped for fish and small food that they will eat, and this poisons them once they eat. Okay, and now that's you. Once if you're to realize, once you make me go around with the effects, I will talk and connect one to the other. But let me take a pause on that.
Just to put some small light or something about what your last point. You talked about ocean. You talked about things like maybe lakes. There is something that we have realized from his point. He talked about the sea. You realize that when we are dumping these polythenes and plastic papers, they are on the surface of the land, but at the end of the day, maybe floods or rain, they are going to be taken to the sea, to the waters. So one thing leads to the other. So what is taking now? Where are we going to? Now automatically, it's not only now becoming land pollution, but now we are taking things to now what? Water pollution, which is also a very big topic of its own. So you realize it's very important because one leads to the other. As I can connect from there, you realize that some of these plastics still have chemicals, which chemicals sometimes when maybe exposed to heat, they can maybe go into air, they can evaporate, and they become they become an issue to the air, so they cause air pollution. You realize that just land pollution alone, it doesn't zero us to land alone, or it doesn't gazette the effects to be strictly to the land alone, but it takes from one area to the other, So you realize that even just the air we breathe, we are at stake because of that, because there is a mixture of gases which came from poor dumping. You realize that, Mr. Sam, when we were coming, we found cows were eating these peppers and such things.
Yeah.
And now when they were eating them, what do we see there? We see that these things are mistaken. So when they are mistaken, you realize that these are things that reduce even the lifespan of animals, terrestrial animals, even if we live besides the sea, besides the aquatic life. You realize that they are taking in the chemicals that in return, when we eat these animals, we are also trying to also reduce our lifespan and bringing diseases and changing our DNAs indirectly. When you also, the other thing that you should know, when you're moving and you find a place which is covered, or it's having imagine you're having two places, one covered with plastics and polythenes, and one is just a greenery, just the beauty itself. The other place can be disgusting, both in the sight and in smell. So you realize that there is a big effect, not just a mere effect. We were talking about the soil, our soil that we use to grow agriculture. When these things are on top, when these bags and plastics are on top, you realize that they limit water from entering in the soil. And when they limit water from entering in the soil, it means our land is going to be dry below. And also, if it's dry, what does it say? What does it imply? It implies that our agriculture is at stake. And talking of agriculture being at stake, we also know that, Mr. Sam, I'm sure you, the scientist you agree with me that these microbial organisms that are under the soil, when these plastics are on top, and they also cease from getting oxygen, and also the texture of the soil and what have you, it is changed.
Actually, the connection is the microorganisms in the soil are responsible for the texture of our soil. So once the polythenes have covered the top layer of the soil, they suffocate these microorganisms, and then this causes a detrimental effect on the shape or the texture of the soil, which is not a good effect as well. And that is what we should watch out for so much, because we are not only affecting ourselves, we're also affecting the life under the soil, the life under the surface of the soil, which is something not good at all. Okay, and then taking you back to the point of one thing leading to the other. This is all a chain of effects. Pollution on land will definitely end up into the water. Pollution of land will definitely end up into the air as air pollution. So what do we see? It's just a piece of a puzzle. It's a chain of reactions. Just one thing needs to be put in place for all the other reactions to take over. Okay? So we should watch out for this a lot, because the effects is a system called a multiplier system.
Yeah, true.
A very, very, very small effect can be multiplied into a very great effect that we didn't know could actually could actually happen. So let's watch out for these effects, because you're dumping on polythene bags may be the small piece of the puzzle required for the multiplier effect to take into action.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sam. He talked about the multiplier effect. I always tell you we are gazetted with the scientists of every kind. When he talked about the multiplier effect, he reminded me of something called an iceberg rule. A small cause giving us a very big effect. So do you really wish to stay in the land where you see polythene paper or a plastic and you say, no, this is a small thing, I can just dump it there, because you're really seeing it's a small polythene paper? Or you really want to see, you want to be someone who says it could be a small thing, a small cause, but the effect is so significant, not just to you yourself, but even to your generation to come. Would you really be amongst the people who want to see their generations perish because of our negligence and recklessness? I bet not tribal roots and not a good listener. So I want us to comment. Just tell us what you're doing, or just tell us your side of the story about land degradation due to plastics and polythenes. So I wanted to talk next. I want us to talk about solutions, because if we dwell on the effects, I'm afraid our listeners may run away and say we are threatening. But guess what? We also have good news on how to live with these plastics and polythenes, or how to be with them, or how to handle our environment very well. So next we are going to listen and get ideas from our favorite Mr. Daniel to take us through a few of what he knows about the solutions, and let's see this going. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sam. What I can say before I even go to solution, excuse me.
It's fine.
Because you, Mr. Sam, talked about some of the chemicals that are used in the manufacturing of the polythene and plastic bags. And you pointed out BPA. And me, who is so much interested in the human health, it took me to actually, this was pointed out by the WHO, or the World Health Organization, that BPA, when you look at the way it acts in the same way as a hormone known as estrogen in human beings. And in women, what it does, it has an effect on the reproductive functioning of the women. And also the same element has effect in men. Actually, it could be a precursor to prostate cancer in men. So having an effect on both the reproductive functionality in women and men. And it has also been proven that, as Mr. Sam said, it is teratogenic. So some women are giving birth to children actually having lung problems, and they don't know that if they are exposed to high concentrations of these substances, it increases the chances of these kind of things happening. Why are we raising these kind of things? Is that moving back years and years, or considering the nation of Africa, and I'm careful to say the nation of Africa before then, years back, because you realize that our grandfathers were thriving on the good or I can say that they were surviving because of a well-functioning ecological system. And when you talk about the ecological system, you consider the waters, the land, the air, the forests, the plants in general, and the animals, the macro and the micro. So, and any gap in the flow of this system could actually affect the whole ecological system. And today, we are talking about the plastic bags becoming a concern in this ecological system. We are talking about a real challenge that threatens the existence of mankind on the continent of Africa. Because you realize that this is how we are used to be. This is how we've been taught even from the years back. So if we don't maintain this, it's a threat to our existence. And that's why it's even important to talk about the solutions. It's not the good news, however. It's not that we don't have anything to do about it. However, some of the things that are applicable in our daily living, that someone outside there watching me can even reconsider and start applying now. You can think about reusing plastic bags. Reusing. When you buy like a polythene, it's very wise not to be in a hurry to dump it just because you think it will be easier for you when you go back to the shop or to that supermarket or wherever you go for shopping to be given another one because of how they've been released in circulation and because of the demand. You can actually choose because you feel now you know the effect it has on the environment and also on your life and also the generations to come, because we've said degradation takes over how many years?
2,000 years.
Those are how many generations to come? Very many. So when you consider the effects, you will not want to dispose of that kavera. For us here in our country, we call it kavera, polythene. I'm sure you just learned a new term. So reuse, we can consider reuse, encouraging reuse. And after reuse, I can talk about recycling. Recycling, actually, these materials, since they are not, they are non-degradable, we can consider transforming them into other things that can be reused, that can be used again in our society and community, so that we avoid dumping them in places where they will affect the environment. Also proper disposing of. Considering this, when you at your home, you have land, in Africa here we are still blessed that people still have pieces of land. Yeah, so those pieces of land are not for misuse, but however to maintain, for them to remain productive. You choose to get a portion which you can actually design in a way. Maybe you can use a synthetic material to cover the land, and when you want to dump, you dump on that synthetic material, maybe a plastic wide material on the surface. You dump there so that when you dump, it does not bury itself into the soil, and that will be easy. Even the policies that are being developed of recycling when they come towards your home, towards the place where you're farming, you're doing this, it's easy to collect it and take for recycling. And also encouraging, let's be more responsible. You see someone seated in taxis. For us, we are still in Africa, most countries, we still have taxis that carry more than 14 passengers. And so you sit next to a person, after taking their drink, they feel it's a burden to carry that bottle to reach a dustbin that has been properly set by the city planners for dumping. And that person just throws out that bottle through the window straight onto the ground. And its fate, no one cares to do. So as citizens, we should be more responsible, be patient. If you carry that kavera with the intention of going to dump it where it's supposed to go, you will not be held a culprit of any crime, but rather will be applauded to be a responsible citizen who cares about your mother, Africa, and who cares to see a better Africa tomorrow, and who wants humankind to continue to exist on the face of Africa. And maybe what I can say is we should have restrictions on the use of kavera. They are so much available, or let me say, for the good of those who don't not in the same locality, plastic bag. Restriction on the use of plastic bag is so much available, and that makes it so easy for people to just use and dump. Yeah, and also we have better options than kavera that can substitute kavera perfectly, and we don't even feel the gap that plastic bags are no longer in existence. Yeah, so we can look at those options as solutions that can help us improve or even reverse the effects that plastic bags have had on our precious land and climate and ecology of our environment in Africa. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you so much. I got something from Mr. Daniel that I was so much interested in the points he was laying out, or in the things he was saying. You realize that none of what he was saying was involving money or a lot of energy. It was involving just normal and common sense, if I can say. You realize that he didn't lay out a point that by this, it will take this much for you to remove kavera. It starts on individual level, on you, on me, on us. You realize that it's something that, my favorite teacher in high school, the chemistry teacher, used to tell us that simple thinking, high level of living. So what does this mean? Sometimes we just need to do simple things to make our life easy. So I really urge us to really have this, and these discussions don't just be taken for granted. Before we conclude, I wanted to ask Mr. Sam if he has only one, if I can say, recommendation within 1 minute, sir. Thank you so much.
My recommendation would be drawn from the previous submission that was by our big friend Mr. Daniel. Said options. The word options is a very good thing. It's actually correlated to hope in the Chinese language. So my recommendation will be other eco-friendly options can substitute polythene bags in a very, very, very comfortable way. The most important one of them being the paper bags. Paper bags are very, very user-friendly, simple to use, yet they play almost, if not equal, role or use as their polythene bags. So that would be my recommendation, because it is not that we don't want the plastic bags in quotes, but then there's a lot that comes with them. Okay, so let's substitute them for a more eco-friendly product that we can use, and we shall see that move to the betterment of our world. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Sam. Also, I have something I want to say. Besides us, I don't know, but I also urge government. We can also put restrictions on how much polythene papers are supplied, especially where there are options, better options, and we zero down to Kavera or polythene paper or plastic usage where we can't do without them. We can really narrow down this problem. Also, on our stakeholders, people who govern us in different capacities, that we can get this movement together. You know, we can get from side to side, us stakeholders and people at the top levels, government. I read somewhere one time that Ireland had this movement. It was called ETL, and it was in 2007. And they had restrictions. It went as far as even in South Africa, where even they reached a point of pricing polythene papers so highly that they can't easily be afforded, or if they are to be afforded, only on very important matters. And it greatly reduced degradation, specifically of land, due to polythene paper and plastic usage. But later, I don't know what happened. It again became the problem. Prices came down. Of course, I'm not saying that the prices of polythene papers and bags and plastics should be raised. Far from it, don't misquote me, but I mean where necessary, so that we can also limit ourselves on the usage. Just like that, this is our environment and it's for our ancestors. We are just living here and transferring it to the next people. Imagine our ancestors left us with a very fun environment. How would we be? So if we are transferring such an environment and worse is coming to our next generation, and they also do the same to the other, I'm wondering whether we are having very many generations ahead, or what are we having in front. Apart from that, our time is up. I wanted to just get the last word from you, Mr. Daniel, then I'll get back to Sam to give us his last word to greet people or something, and we shall be leaving the studio. Thank you.
Yeah, you say the last word. Thank you for watching, guys, dear viewers. Whatever you do today, consider what it will result tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I still leave a disclaimer that the last words didn't mean that you'll never turn up for studio here, because my listeners and viewers may be worried that the last words mean to not come back in the geopolitics platform. So I disclaim.
God will.
Thank you so much.
God wills will happen.
Amen. And I know He wills people are seeing you on geopolitics. I'm so certain about that. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. Back to Mr. Sam. You have some words. I can't say last words because I'm afraid again.
It's okay. I want to thank you all for being with us this time, being able to catch us on this another great episode of geopolitics. All I can say is watch out for the multiplier effect and make sure you notice the small a small cause leading to a multitude of effects. Thank you, and keep on to tribal roots, because we are moving to change the world. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, our viewers. Once again, I am Simon Efrorite. Please subscribe, like, comment. Catch you next week. We love you so much. Thank you.